Cowboys fall to the Chicago Bears 31-14. And first note, and I don't have to tell you guys this, an ugly, ugly game. It's like 9:30 on the East Coast. The game ended like 2 hours ago. I've had some time to think about this loss. I talked to Foots on our podcast. If you guys want to listen to that episode, it's here on the channel. It's like 45 minutes long, us talking about this game. But I've had some time to really collect my thoughts. And you see these lights up here? They're red for a Cowboys loss because this thing was ugly. And I know not what you want to see on the road against a team that, quite frankly, going into this game was not good. And that loss was so incredibly bad. Let's just go ahead and get into the video. Now, we have a lot to talk about from this game. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I guess it just depends on how long my rants go on and where we go from here. I don't know. I don't have much planned. But I know you guys don't want to hear this right now. It's painful. It's a painful loss. This sucked extra bad. But we do have to talk about the positives first. And I promise it's going to be quick because there's not a ton of them, but I want to highlight a couple of guys and maybe some pieces that you can kind of lean on as we keep going into the season, and hopefully this thing gets a little bit better, all right? Number one, the first positive was the run game. I hate I even have to mention this, but the Javonte Williams fumble was bad. It was not a great time. A 27-yard run. Dallas had gotten a 3-and-out. You get the ball. Offense is kind of rolling, and Williams has a really big run, and they take the ball away. But you know what? I'm not even going to get mad about that. I'm not going to get irritated because I promise there's a lot more room for that. There's a lot more harsh feelings to go around for the rest of this team. So he had 10 carries for 76 yards. He averaged 7.6 yards per carry, had a long of 22. There's some nice things that Dallas was able to do on the ground, but obviously they had to get away from that later on in the game. But overall, I thought Williams was good. Even Sanders averaged like 4.5 yards per carry at the beginning. At the very beginning where they got the 3-and-out, they looked like they were pressuring Caleb Williams a little bit. The Bears offense didn't look great. And then Dallas gets the ball back. They're able to get that big run and then the fumble. I thought it was going really well up until that point. I know it was really early into the first quarter, but that's kind of how I imagine the game going, except after that fumble, it just got completely flipped around and then the defense started. But you know what? Thumbs up to Javonte Williams. I still owe him my apologies. He has been phenomenal this season. I've really enjoyed him being the running back one in Dallas. He runs so incredibly hard. The Bears did not want to tackle him. The Bears defense is super excited that Dallas had to stop running the ball because I promise you, by the end of that game, they were sick of tackling Javonte Williams. So thumbs up number one to Williams. Thumbs up number two to Reddy Stewart. He finished this game fourth in tackles, two of those being tackles for loss. He was playing the nickel. They had him on a nickel blitz. He was getting pressure. Obviously, one defender doesn't change much when the defense just isn't playing good as a whole. But this guy, he's a tackler. He'll stick his head in there, make plays in the run game. From the broadcast, what I saw in coverage, he looked pretty good. And you know what? I might end up breaking his film down over on Patreon later this week for those of you that are patrons over there. So make sure you keep your eyes open for your inbox. I'm going to probably have a Reddy Stewart video because I think he's a piece that you can actually work with going into the future. Now, I promised you guys the positives list was going to be extremely short because I think that's it. If you guys want to head down to the comments below and tell me a couple thumbs up from this game, guys that you thought played well, go down there. We do need a little bit of positivity, all right, before you guys get started on how bad this game was. Let's start with the secondary. Where else can we really start? I really don't know where you go from here. Caleb Williams was 19 for 28 for 298 yards. He averaged over 10 yards per attempt with 4 touchdowns, didn't throw a pick, and didn't take a sack. And remember that Caleb Williams was third all time since like the Super Bowl era of sacks taken in a season at like 58 his rookie year. Keep that in mind. He did not take a sack in this game. Luther Burden had 3 catches for 101 yards. He averaged 33 yards per catch. He had 1 touchdown. Rome Odunze had 3 catches for 62 and 20 yards per catch with 1 touchdown, and then some other names sprinkled in here and there. If you look at that box score for Caleb Williams, and it kind of felt like this in the game, it didn't feel like he was super efficient, right? Outside of some really big plays, he was missing throws. He was dirting the ball. He wasn't getting it to the receiver. He was sailing it over, not making throws. I don't think Williams played great, all things considered. The Dallas defense just gave them everything, especially early on in the game with the deep shot to Rome Odunze, where Diggs tried to jam at the line. He tried to stab. He fell down. Odunze just runs right past him. He's got like 10, 15 yards of separation. That's a touchdown. Then they run the flea flicker to, I believe it was Luther Burden. He catches the ball with like 10, 15 yards of separation as well. And by that point, I think Williams had like 200 yards through the air. He ended up having 100 after that. I don't think he beat you. I think poor defense, poor zone management, poor eyes in the backfield, poor angles. It was just all around from the secondary not good, and that's why they hit him with the flea flicker, because those safeties and the defensive backs are creeping up, eyes in the backfield. They hit the flea flicker. Next thing you know, a guy's running past Malik Hooker. He can't get over there because Malik Hooker is not a young guy anymore. Took him a while to get over there. By that point, I mean, it's already over. But I knew going into this game that Ben Johnson was going to watch that New York Giants tape and say, oh, okay, we're gonna throw vertical. We're gonna run vertical routes. We're gonna throw the deep ball, and we're gonna beg the Cowboys to stop it. And they couldn't do it. I think Williams was pretty decent in the intermediate parts of the field. Some stuff underneath. He was able to create some plays outside the pocket. Guys in his face, pick up 5 to 10 yards, but we're used to seeing that by this point with the Cowboys DBs playing 10 yards off the line of scrimmage on a 3rd and 3. They're going to give those up. I don't know what else we're going to do about it. I've stopped getting mad at the idea that they're going to give up 5, 7, 8, 10 yards a pop underneath, because they play so soft on the outside just to get burnt deep, to get burnt repeatedly by vertical routes. The secondary, I don't know if it's a Matt Eberflus thing. I don't know if it's a coaching thing with the secondaries coach. I don't know if it's a player thing. Probably a terrible combination of all 3 of those things, but those guys on the back end are costing you football games. Allowing 31 points, the Bears probably could have scored a whole lot more, but allowing 31 points is not going to win you games, especially when the offense only scored 14. And if you're playing games without CeeDee Lamb, you're not in a really good spot offensively, and we might talk about that group a little bit, but it feels like we're really just hung up on how bad this defense is. I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Sleeper. They're sponsoring the channel all football season long. They're the best. Sleeper has fantasy football. They have daily fantasy sports, the best daily fantasy sports app on the market. I've been playing all of this year. For Monday Night Football, they have a lot of fun daily fantasy sports picks. Jahmyr Gibbs, anytime touchdowns, more than or less than anytime touchdowns for Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson passing yards, Amon-Ra St. Brown. After I get off there here making this video, probably going to go put in a couple picks for Monday night. I love their interface. It sorts by games. It sorts by players, sports. They got MLB, WNBA, CS2, tennis, NBA, college football. It's everywhere. I love Sleeper. Sure, the offense scored 14 points, but the 49ers just won a game giving up 13. The Panthers defense against the Falcons didn't allow a single point. Do we think that defense is going to be able to do that this year? No. I think a lot of what is holding you back, Dak Prescott, CeeDee when he's healthy, George Pickens, Javonte Williams, they're not going to be able to win games this year scoring less than probably 35 points a game. I genuinely believe that. So I don't even think it's really worth talking about them. Even though they didn't play up to their best today, you're out without your number 1 wide receiver. Dak was super efficient, 31 for 40, a lot of stuff underneath, missing your number 1. But We're talking about the defense. I told you guys I was going to get super sidetracked. But they can't cover, but they also can't rush the passer. Caleb Williams, this is the first time that he did not take a sack in a game in his NFL career. Guys, we are 3 weeks into his second year in the NFL. This man has played 20 games now. This was the first one that he didn't take a sack. That's an embarrassing stat on all fronts. That guy has literally walked himself into pressure his entire NFL career. He consistently bails out of the pocket, gives edges the ability when he rolls out to roll backwards, and the edges have an angle on him, and he takes sacks, or he stands in the pocket, holds the ball. He didn't have that issue today. You did not pressure him at all. The Cowboys nobody got home. I can't wait till the next-gen stats numbers or PFF or whoever does it for those numbers to come out of how much pressure the Cowboys defensive front got today, because they didn't. It had to be in the bottom 4 or 5 of teams that played this week. It was so bad. And the more that I think about it, I'm coming to the realization that the defensive coordinator doesn't know how to fix it. He has no idea what to do. How do you fix a defense to where your number one $90 million corner, Trayvon Diggs, you call man coverage, he goes to stab and jam at the line of scrimmage, and he gets burnt because he falls down? Or you have Kyer Elam on the other side, that when you go man coverage, they're just going to pick on him. Or Reddy Stewart, although he played good, don't get me wrong, he played good. Eberflus should trust him to some extent. But that's a guy that you picked up off the waiver wire that was like a 7th-round pick, undrafted free agent, something, hasn't played a ton in the NFL, and although he's playing good, how do you trust him? You have linebackers that aren't seeing things properly and overrunning plays or running the wrong way or filling the wrong gap, and that's without mentioning Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker, particularly Donovan Wilson. It seemed like he had a couple blown coverages again, even after that Giants game. I'm not letting Eberflus off the hook at all. I think he's got to do something different. I don't care if you're still getting burnt. At least you tried, man, which he did today. I'll give him credit. But you're going to have to get real creative with some blitz packages here, dropping some guys in the cover, like blitzing out of zone, blitzing out of man, single high, rotating into two high. Like, you're going to have to switch it up. I don't know what that entails, but Eberflus has to do something different, because what we've seen so far is a historically bad pace, genuinely. Like, you gave up 8 last week, 37, and then you give up 31 to Caleb Williams. This is not going to be the best quarterback by any stretch of the imagination that you're going to play, and you let him throw some really deep bombs and beat you easily. I mean, 31-14 is an embarrassing loss. I said it in the podcast with Foots. You guys can go watch it. We talked offense, defense, everything, but I don't know where you go from here. The Cowboys aren't firing their defensive coordinator. They have never, ever done it during the season. Eberflus is going nowhere. He is here to stay. And even if you do fire him, that doesn't mean you're just going to automatically be a top 10, top 15 defense and be formidable. It doesn't change much, in my opinion, because it seems like right now you don't have the players. That Diggs contract is not working out. Kyer Elam thought he had a great camp. Doesn't seem like he's playing well so far. Donovan Wilson, that's something you can fix. He's not a deep center field cover safety. He is a box safety that likes to tackle. He cannot cover. He can't. That's something Eberflus could easily figure out. Then, on the defensive line, those guys aren't getting pressure. You can't get pressure with 4 and drop back 7 into coverage. Guys are going to find soft spots in zone. Or those guys on the back end are going to get confused by these route combinations and give up big plays. So you're in a really tough spot defensively. I think the offense did not play well today. Losing CD certainly didn't help. I think there's some stuff for Brian Schottenheimer to clean up, but that's not what needs to be fixed right now. I think the offense can still win you games. They did it last week, and they're not the reason that you lost today. Dak is not the reason that you lost today. If we're talking about this team competing at all this year, it's going to have to start defensively. That's it. Point blank period. I don't care how good your offense is. We've seen it with the Bengals for how many years now. It doesn't matter how many weapons, what kind of quarterback you have. Anything doesn't matter if you're giving up 30 points. There's not much you can do about it. So I don't know if you guys want to hear me continue to yap, but I do want to talk about the offense for just a minute. And Brian Schottenheimer kind of slowing this thing down a little bit with the offense, right? You get down in the red zone, you're at the 1-yard line, it's 3rd and 1, and you throw a fade ball to Pickens in the corner, and it's way over his head. Not a good throw by Dak. But it's also like you have a running back that's averaging 7.5 yards per carry. Over 7.5, you want to get technical, 7.6 yards per carry. Hand him the ball. Like, is it really that bad to just turn around and hand him the ball? It just feels like Shoddy just gets a little too excited. He pushes a little too hard, knowing the defense isn't going to get a stop, and we got to score right now, right now, right now. Oh, we're down on the 1. Let's go. Fade ball to Pickens, fade ball to Pickens. Like, we get down on the 1-yard line, and we're like, fade ball. Oh, this will be cool, fade ball. When it's sometimes easier to just do the boring thing. And I don't really think that Shoddy's like, oh, let's be this hot shot offense. I think he just gets down there and gets a little overwhelmed by like the emotion and, oh, we're going to get him right here. When in reality, he could just settle in a little bit. You don't have your number 1 wide receiver. Williams is averaging 7.5 yards per carry. You kind of got thrown out of your game plan. I think running the ball would have worked pretty much all day if you're not giving up points at such an insanely high rate, especially early on in the game. Forces you out of your anything you were going to do run game wise and into passing. And then you combine that with missing your number 1 wide receiver and Pickens having to step into that role and Turpin playing more and Tolbert playing more. I'm not giving them a pass at all, but I'm also not putting this game on them at all. The defense is so bad. And if they did fire Eberflus, I wouldn't be upset. I don't think it would instantly be better or just become a top 15 unit, but I wouldn't be mad by it either. I guess I could put this in the positives really quick before we go. DeAndre Swift had 13 carries for 33 yards. This team can stop the run. That's great. That's what we always wanted, right? We didn't know it was going to come at the cost of giving up every single deep ball in the history of every single deep ball thrown. That's not great. A really demoralizing game. I really hope you guys will hang out here on the channel and still, check us out. We're still talking Cowboys football. We got the Packers coming up. One game could change a lot of people's minds. Packers at AT&T next week. Cowboys fall to 1-2 to the Bears, 31-14. I think that's going to be it, guys. I'm done talking, done yapping. That was rough. Rough game. So, if you want to hear me talk a little bit more, go check out that podcast with Foots. I'll try to link it down below in the comments section. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 45,000 subscribers. It might slow down a little bit because everybody's mad at the Cowboys. But remember, I don't play for the Cowboys, and you can still subscribe because it really helps out the channel. I love you guys. I'm going to bed. Bye.